Yep, now it's live, it says.
And then we can begin.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for your patience. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the notice, which was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board of Township Hall and filed in the Township's clerk's office on April 8th, 2020. Mayor Bontempo,
Here.
Ms. Weber,
Here.
Mr. Critelli,
Here.
Dr. Pascucci,
Here.
Mr. Santana.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Wendy. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag.
of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
which
it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please remain standing for a moment of silence, both to honor our military, home and abroad, to protect us tirelessly each and every day. I'd also like a moment of silence for all those that lost their lives to the coronavirus that's been so devastating to our community. Thank you. So before I roll into the first proclamation, Sean, you want to just kind of just roll through how we're running tonight, just for everyone's edification?
So just so everyone knows, we, as you should be able to see, all of the Township Committee are active participants. If you have joined and you are not part of the Township Committee, you're joined as an attendee. Your video is turned off. When it's time for public comment at those two periods of time, you'll be able to see on the bottom of your screen a raised hand. If you are calling via phone, you can press *9. So when the mayor asks for public comment, either raise your hand on the computer Zoom or press *9 on the phone, and then we will unmute people one by one as you speak.
Thank you, Sean. So first order of business is a proclamation thanking those on the front lines. Whereas in December of 2019, a novel coronavirus outbreak began in Wuhan, China, and since then has touched almost every corner of the world and has shuttered villages, towns, cities, and healthcare facilities. And whereas hundreds of thousands of people around the world have been sickened and have been died due to the outbreak, and whereas the novel coronavirus is also known as COVID-19, CO stands for coronavirus, VI is for virus, and D is for disease. And whereas the first case of COVID-19 hit the United States in February 2020, and since then has been transmitted throughout the country, leaving thousands of front lines to combat this virus by working long hours as they assist those in need in our communities. And whereas around the country, millions of healthcare professionals, first responders, warehouse operators, truck drivers, postal workers, delivery workers, construction workers, grocery store clerks, gas attendants, and public servants are fighting this pandemic, helping to ensure the health, well-being, and safety of the citizens of Holmdel Township, the County of Monmouth, the State of New Jersey, the United States of America. And whereas these individuals on the front line are heroes because of their enduring and selfless dedication to their fellow citizens as they continue to work in dangerous conditions, particularly healthcare workers experience a short supply of protective gear. And whereas the country is at war with this pandemic, and the great people the Americas rely on at this time are unmatched in any and all regards. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and the Township Committee of Holmdel Township extend their sincere gratitude to all those heroes who continue to sacrifice for the sake of residents of Holmdel Township and the country. Be it further resolved that the mayor and Township Committee extend a personal thank you to every frontline worker and are grateful for everything they are doing for our citizens, and calls on all residents of Holmdel Township, residents of the County of Monmouth, residents of the State of New Jersey, and across the country to also extend their gratitude to every frontline worker risking their personal health and the health of those who they love. We are forever grateful for everything these heroes do. Signed by myself, Mayor Holmdel Township. Wendy,
Yes.
approval of minutes?
Yes, approval of minutes which were forwarded to the Township Committee for review on April 3rd. The minutes are for February 11th, 2020, executive and public sessions, and February 24th, the special executive session. Motion to approve?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Critelli?
Yes.
Dr. Pascucci?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
The minutes have been approved.
Thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is public comment for anything that's on the agenda. So members of the public are invited to provide comments up to 3 minutes in duration on any agenda items. Commenters are asked to state his or her full name and address for the record before entering comments. You guys will tell me if there's any comments.
Are you doing this?
Yep, I don't see any hands.
I don't either.
So just a reminder, there should be a button on your computer if you'd like to make a comment. And if you are calling via phone, you can press *9.
Mayor, can I make 2 comments?
Yes, please.
Two of the resolutions, number 138 is going to be a temporary emergency for the budget. This will bring us through the month of June. Again, with the issues going on and the delay with the state budget, we're not really sure when we're going to get the final adoption approval from the state. The second one, number 142, is we're going to waive the claimant signature as required by statute. It used to be every claim from a vendor did require a claimant signature. The township, again, we have an ordinance coming up tonight that we are going to raise it to $1,000. And in the meantime, while this COVID-19 crisis is going on, we're just going to raise it by resolution to $1,000.
Thank you, Bill.
And I still have no hands up.
Okay. So if there's no public comment and anything.
Mayor, if I could just piggyback on the CFO.
Go ahead.
I know the CFO mentioned a couple of resolutions with respect to the coronavirus pandemic, so I'll just outline the remaining ones. There's one that's authorizing use of the Storm Trust Fund, which the governor and the local finance board have authorized for this state of emergency. And there's also a resolution regarding the prepayment of bills and reorganization. The committee previously approved a delegation resolution allowing the township administrator to prepay what are routine bills. And this resolution confirms that that remains the case and is explicitly the case during the ongoing state of emergency in case the committee is unable to meet. And then finally, the director of recreation requested an extension on the period for registering for the Homedale Swim Club to May 15th. So that resolution extends the pricing that's codified in ordinance in light of the state of emergency.
Got it. So I'm looking for a motion for resolutions 2021-28 through 2020-147.
Mayor, I'd like to pull 146 for further discussion, please.
146.
The prepayment that Michael referred to.
146. Yep.
So I can make a motion for everything but that if someone else wants to adjust this.
Okay, so 2020, 128 to 2020, 147 minus 146. Motion.
Moved.
I'll make that motion. We'll just give a second.
Yeah, Wendy. Tom and Kathy.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Critelli?
Yes.
Dr. Pascucci?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes, with a note.
Mayor Bontempo?
Yes.
Okay.
The 146, Tom.
Yes. I understand the resolution as we passed it in January. I just want to clarify, and we'll probably need to use this going forward over the next 30 to 60 days, but what happens to those bills that Bill decides to go ahead and pay, do we eventually approve them and see the bill list?
Yes.
Yes,
So at subsequent meeting, we'll have access to the bills that were paid along with the ones that are being posted, and the public will have access to those invoices as well.
Yes. The public will have access to the invoices at any point through an Oprah request. And I will also ensure prior to paying the bills, I will make sure that members of the TC are aware of what is going to be paid.
You know, I'll move that resolution. Thank you.
Second,
Do a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Catali,
Yes.
Dr. Pascucci,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
yes,
Ms. Weber,
Yes,
Mayor Bontempo.
Yes. Next, Wendy, is the introduction of ordinance, the bill referenced.
Correct. Introduction of ordinance 2020-09, which is an ordinance waiving requirement for claimant certifications for claims $1,000 or less. Motion to adopt on first reading, published in the Asbury Park Press, and set public hearing for Tuesday, April 28th, 2020.
A motion?
Moved.
second,
Roll call?
Mr. Catali,
Yes.
Dr. Pascucci,
Yes.
Mr. Santana,
yes,
Ms. Weber,
yes,
Mayor Bontempo.
Yes.
2020-09 will be on the April 28th agenda for final proceedings.
Thank you, Wendy.
You're welcome.
Any updates from department heads, administrator?
I just want to say publicly a big thank you to our entire team that has been working, and every department, of course, our first responders, police, fire, first aid, who are literally putting their lives on the line for us through this whole thing. But every single department in town hall, it was a very quick adjustment that we had to make, but we're doing our best to keep the regular business of the township going, and that's because we have a fantastic staff. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. CFO, Bill, any additional updates from you?
no additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Mike, do you have any updates?
Hi, good evening, Mayor and members of the committee. The only updates I had were the resolutions that were adopted earlier in light of the coronavirus pandemic. And also, I know I've been given updates about the New Jersey natural gas litigation that remains in discovery. I can tell you that obviously, like most things in life, a lot of litigation is slowed down or grounded to a halt in many respects, but the township is still actively handling that matter against New Jersey Natural Gas.
Thank you, Mike. From boards and committees, Deputy Mayor, can I start with you tonight?
sure. I just have a few things that I want to share. On behalf of the mayor, I have been sitting in on conference calls for White House briefings and with Bloomberg Philanthropies in conjunction with Harvard University for the mayors across America. The two biggest takeaways from those calls were from the White House briefing calls, and these are ongoing calls. The statement has been that these public health issues are locally executed, state managed, and federally supported. And President Trump actually joined us for that call last week. And on the Bloomberg Philanthropy calls, we have had former President Clinton, George Bush, and President Obama join us on those calls to speak about crisis in leadership, as well as all the more hands-on things that we, as those who are charged with locally executing this, can be doing. And the takeaway I have, and I just need to really say this, is a sincere and deep thanks to our township administrator and all of the township staff, as well as our mayor, for their leadership in this crisis. I have received, in fact, just got another call tonight of thanks for the communications, the calls, and all the efforts that are being made. And of course, along with that, to all of our both volunteer and staff first responders for the outstanding job they've done. I really have gotten feedback that Homedale residents feel like we are looking out for them and doing our best. And as you will recall, a month ago at our last meeting, I challenged our community and said this virus would be a test of our humanity. And indeed it has been and will continue to be. So I want to say a thank you to this community, because I have seen across the board an overwhelmingly positive response to people trying to do the right thing. And unfortunately, the challenge in this case is the right thing is often doing nothing. It means staying home and not going anywhere. And that is very hard for us to do. It is very, very hard for me to do. But I want to share that in over a month, I have not been inside of a store or business. I have done everything remotely or with curbside pickup and pretty much without even doing takeout. So I'm happy to share that with anyone offline and how I've done that. But I feel it's very important to do my part as if we're asking all of you to do your part. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Appreciate that. Committeeman Santana, do you have any updates?
No updates, Mr. Mayor, but I'd like to thank you and for all the information that you've been communicating to the public and coordinating all the activities with first aid and the police and others. I'd also like to thank the Township Town Administrator, Sharon Roundtree, for an excellent job. Of course, the first responders and the healthcare workers. Great job so far. Hopefully this will be behind us soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committeeman Critelli?
Quick update on the construction over at Phillips Park. It continues. The excavation work and the drainage work. Thank you, Kathy, for that heads up. The excavation work and the drainage work should be done by the end of this month, and the field turf products been ordered, scheduled to be delivered around May 12th. So we expect to have that project done, God willing, by the end of May, and maybe the parks get some use before the summer and the kids go back to school. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Committeeman Pascucci?
As far as I know from our emergency management coordinator, we have enough personal protective equipment for our first responders, which is great. I would like to reiterate what everyone said, thanking everyone in Homedale, from the cleaning people on up. They're just as important as the doctors and nurses. I got to give a shout out to our mayor, Greg Bontempo, to our director of emergency management, Eric Hernando, and to our administrator, Sharon Roundtree. They have been a great leadership for our town, and I'm very proud to be a Homedale person. Thank you, guys. We couldn't do it without everybody in Homedale, including all of our workers and all of us. Thank you, everyone. Hang tough.
Thank you, Committeeman. I appreciate that. I just have a couple updates. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the work of, I call it the leadership team. I do have calls every day, at least once a day, usually twice a day, with our administrator, our head of OEM, and our chief of police. We are extremely blessed to have such a phenomenal team. These guys are so tied into everything going on in the town, responsive to every email, call, drop in that we get. It's been amazing. And I think that this is going to go on for a while, and I'm very proud and happy to have that team with us. I could tell you that right before I got on the call this evening, or our meeting this evening, I was over at Bayshore Hospital with a event, a tribute to the first medical workers that the first responders put together, led by Chief Farrell and Eric Hernando from OEM. They originally had Homedale, Hazlet, Union Beach, and Keyport. I could tell you that they showed up, first aid, fire, police, but then Matawan showed up, Keensburg showed up, West Keensburg showed up. There were more trucks and more people than I could ever have imagined. They hung the American flag over the roadway. So as the medical workers came into work, They walked into the hospital under the flag with probably a row on both sides of people standing 6 feet apart, practicing social distancing and clapping all the way in from where they parked all the way into the hospital. It was an incredible turnout. The nurses were visibly moved by this as they came into work, as were the doctors as they did the shift change. It was remarkable. And you don't put anything like that together unless you have a really dedicated team. So I really commend all the first responders for coming out and thanking the nurse and doctors who were working long and hard hours. The update from the hospital was over 75% of the hospital are COVID-19 patients right now, over 75%. So it's long days, it's long hours, it's a lot of emergencies going on, and there's people coming in every day. This is far from over for us. But I left there as I was driving home, coming back here to run this meeting, and I said, we are fortunate to be in a town that cares that much. The response we've gotten from the PPE drive that we started 3 weeks ago has been incredible. I put out a call. The hospital needed medical professionals, doctors and nurses. And guess what we got, guys? We got doctors and nurses that stepped up and reached out and said, I'll help out, I'll volunteer, I'll do whatever I need to do to help out the community. It's been remarkable. So I just wanted to recognize what an incredible team we're fortunate to have here in Homedale, and thank everyone, because we couldn't be where we are without everybody. It's really been a team effort. Second thing that I think is very important is the parks. The parks have gotten a lot of attention recently with the governor ordering an executive order closing all county and state parks, which obviously affects Homedale Park in Homedale. That is heavily visited every day, and especially as the weather gets nice. We've decided to keep our parks open. We have signage at all of our parks right now reminding people as they come in that they need to practice social distancing. We want to keep the parks open. We want people to be able to get outside and enjoy the beautiful parks we have in Homedale, but they need to practice social distancing. We need to flatten this curve. We need to stop this from spreading. So our police have signs up. The police are patrolling the parks, reminding people, encouraging people, and sitting in a way where they can help and positively impact the community. So as far as I'm concerned, we're going to keep the parks open unless we have a problem. If we have a problem, we will regroup and discuss how to move forward. But right now, I think it's we are fortunate to have the resources we have available for the residents to be able to use to kind of stretch your legs, get some fresh air. And I think that some days getting out of the house and getting fresh air is a great thing, and enjoying some of the parks that we have, because they are second to none. That's it for my updates from tonight. If there's no other questions or comments from the committee, I'll open it up, Carrie, to public comment. Do you have any people in queue?
Not yet.
Okay. Do you want to remind everybody, if they want to say anything, what they need to do, please?
If you'd
So,
like,
go ahead. You got it.
make a comment on your Zoom screen toward the bottom. There's a icon that says raise your hand. Just raise your hand and we will unmute you for your comments. If you are on a telephone, which I don't believe anybody, it looks like anybody is.
Look like anybody is.
Yeah, I don't think so. But if you are on a telephone, you press *9. Oh, we have one.
Got one.
Hello?
Hi. Diane?
Hi, as Diane Parisi. I'm a little confused about the parks. I thought the county parks were closed.
Ms. Parisi, can you please state your name and address for the record?
Diane Parisi, 23 Riverside Lane. I'm a little confused about what parks are opened.
So the county and state parks were closed by the executive order from the governor. All township or municipal parks are open.
So Homedale Park is closed.
Holmdel Park is a county park, correct? It is closed.
Okay, thank you.
You're
If you
welcome.
visit our website, we have a list of all of the municipal parks under the Parks tab of our website.
Okay, great, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie, you're in charge now.
Here we go. I don't see any other hands up.
I don't either.
Oh, hold on. We got one.
Mr. and Mrs. Blumenthal, if you state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm not getting any audio.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Nothing.
Perhaps you can call the phone number and comment that way through the phone. Give me one moment. I will tell you the phone number. You can try to call in. You can dial 929-205-6099. Again, 929-205-6099. You'll have to put in the meeting ID and then press *9. That might
Is
take a
anybody-
while if there's anybody else that.
Is anybody else in queue? When?
I don't see anybody else for
No
public.
one else is here.
All right. Will the call come in just like the video, right
Yeah.
into the video?
It will
Please.
show up and we'll see it as a phone number. It does take a little bit. They have to have the meeting ID and the password, which we published on our website. Computers are always finicky at the most difficult times.
And the meeting is being recorded too, correct, Sean?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Recorded, and it's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
Live.
Mr. Mayor, while we're waiting, let me just say one more thank you that I want to be crystal clear about, and that's with respect to the donations of the personal protective equipment. I've been managing that for the last few weeks and have been absolutely overwhelmed with the generosity of the members of our community. And in particular, I just want to do a shout out to members of the Chinese community who have not only fundraised and donated equipment, but have worked with contacts in Asia to be able to secure that equipment and get it back here to us. Because I don't know if the public is aware, part of the problem with the PPE was that you were unable to even purchase it if you had funds. So I appreciate all the effort that has gone into that, and I think we're up to 40, 50 different people plus groups of people. One group of 50 families got together to raise funds and secure PPE. And that's going to all our first responders and to the hospital, and really helping allow them to stay safe and do their job.
You're right, Kathy. In fact, so we have been covering our first responders, our first aid, our OEM, our police, and then we've also been helping out the hospital and their frontline medical professionals as well with PPE. They are still in need of N95 masks. They're okay with gloves. The hospital needs a mask, so we're helping our first responders, making sure they can do their daily runs and all their calls that they're getting, and their emergency calls have spiked up since the coronavirus hit, and we're helping the hospital as well. So it is all going to right into the hands of the people that are working to protect everybody, all your friends and family and loved ones in the community. I think you got it.
It looks like we have a Zoom webinar chat. We have from Eugene Kazenko. He said, thanks for all your efforts during this difficult time. And then it looks like Jenny.
That was mine. It wasn't. I was just trying to reach out to.
Oh,
the
okay.
trying to speak.
Okay.
Are we good, guys?
Yeah, there's no one else whose hand has been raised, and there's nobody that has joined the call. Just
Okay.
so everyone knows, at one point we had 25 attendees, which is pretty impressive.
Yes,
Yeah.
first meeting. Couple glitches, but. that's it.
Do someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Good night.
good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks, Gabby. Take care, guys. Thank you, guys. You did a great job.
Thanks.